Welcome to Literary Gumbo, a continuing look at the world of writers, writing, publishing, and all other peripheral events. I'm Fred Klein, I'm the chief stirrer, and my guest today is a dear friend, a wonderful mystery writer, and we're going to talk totally about the world of mysteries. And I say welcome to you, Melodie Johnson-Howe.
Thank you.
How are you, dear?
I'm doing fine, except
Great.
it's hard to breathe in all this smoke.
Oh, absolutely. It's been amazing. And have you noticed the sun? The color of the sun is just
I know, it's
amazing.
this brilliant. Talking about that, I would just...
does it have anything to do with the mysteries? Or
yes,
nothing?
it does.
Oh, okay.
I am just going to read a short paragraph. You like my segue, Fred?
I mean, I didn't even get a chance to breathe, for God's sake.
I just have to do this. We're having terrible Santa Ana winds, and we're having major fires. I'm not sure when this is going to come out. But Raymond Chandler wrote a wonderful short story called The Red Wind.
The Red Wind.
Yes, and it's just a very short opening.
Go.
There was a desert wind blowing that night. It was one of those hot, dry Santa Anas that come down through the mountain passes and curl your hair and make your nerves jump and your skin itch. On nights like that, every booze party ends in a fight. Meek little wives feel the edge of the carving knife and study their husband's necks.
That is lovely. That is lovely. Endgame by David Balducci. Midnight Line by Lee Child. The Rooster Bar by John Grisham. Origin by Dan Brown. Two Kinds of Truth by Michael Connolly. Typhoon First by Clive Cussler, which is he's really more of an adventure writer, and Every Breath You Take by Mary Higgins Clark.
Right, who is?
So here we've got women, we got men.
Who's now in her early 90s.
Yes, she really has been very productive though in the last few years. But all of them first class, all of them writing very contemporary sizzlers that work as well today as they might have.
Well, and they're all very different kind of books, too.
Yes. Well, I sort of would like to sort of get to that.
Yeah.
Historically, I mean, I think we all come from the British, I think, again, because Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, written years and years and years ago.
Is made into another movie.
Is now a current successful movie. Right. And it just seems to me that does happen. And that whole period of British writers, the Arthur Conan Doyles, and some of the other early British writers, tremendous.
John Dickinson Carr.
John Dickinson Carr. See, I forgot that.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
There was a writer called Bentley. I've forgotten his first name and last. I mean, there were so many of them that are Edmund Crispin, who's a wonderful writer. If anybody wants to look him up, he's an English writer in the 40s and 50s. He wrote The Moving Toy Shop, which is a brilliant book. He was also a concert pianist, highly erudite man. Crispin, Crispin. And that time in English literature and English mystery literature was major, and I think through Hammett and Chandler bringing the, sort of that golden age ending, and they brought the mystery into the mean streets, American style. And
I bring up my old Patricia Highsmith and
another English writer.
William Irish. Cornell Woolridge. I don't know, did you ever...
Cornell Woolridge, of course.
Yes. But his other name was, he wrote under William Irish.
Yes, he did.
Those were my two favorite writers of all time.
And they were quirky, dark.
Strangers on a Train.
Yes, and for Highsmith, and this is a woman writer.
Right. Psychological mysteries.
Psychological mysteries, and Ripley is a villain, but is the protagonist in all her books. So they're very dark books. And the Woolridge books, though there's not one protagonist that goes through them, are very dark
yes,
books. And again, they foretold the beginning of the noir and where the protagonist doesn't always win out, or morality isn't always.
Yes, it's the morality
Yeah,
that is
it's
sort
more
of
blurred.
iffy. Yes, sort of iffy. But then we get into the Americans, and then we go back. Starting with Edgar Allan Poe. You have to go on to some of the great.
Well, Irish, and he was American.
Yeah, he was American. You're right. William Irish was. But the early American mystery writers, Rex Stout.
Rex Stout, who created Nero Wolfe and Archie Goodwin. And one of my favorite, I love Rex Stout. And again, for those who haven't read these old mysteries, I highly recommend them. He did a sort of contemporary view of his time on Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. I later did it with Claire Conrad and Maggie Hill in The Mother Shadow and Beauty Dies, where I used two women.
While we're there, let's stay with you, because we've got a couple of your books here. Your books are very contemporary. I'm jumping in a sense, but they're right in front of us, and so I do want to mention them. The latest being Hold of Scorpion.
Yes.
Still available.
Which just sold in France. It's coming out in February in France.
Great to hear it. And you still are you still working on
I'm still creating Diana Poole. Yes, she's
Poole. Okay.
She is.
That's her heroine.
Yep, she's my main character. She's a middle-aged actress who has to go back to work because she's out of money.
But she was a star. She was a star at one point.
Yes,
right?
a young star.
Yeah.
Yes, but you leave and come back. You're no longer a star. And by Hollywood standards, she's older, even though she's in her early 40s. And the books, because I was an actress back in the 60s and 70s.
I didn't want to drop that name, but if you would like to, okay, we can.
They say write about what you know. But it's not just about what you know, but it's about your passion for the young writers out there. And I'm passionate about Diana Poole in Hollywood. I was just reading that opening paragraph from Raymond Chandler, and you realize how Southern California especially is such an important character in these books, as it is in mine. Yes.
Absolutely, as it is with Ross McDonald.
As it
is with Sue Grafton.
Michael Connolly.
Bob
Craze.
Robert Craze. Right. Well, you've gone to some of the. I don't know if you've gone to the MWA. But you've been to. There are organizations throughout the country, aren't there, on mystery writers, and you've gone to some of those.
Well, I've gone to the awards show. The MW,
the Edgar.
The Edgars, and it's the Edgar Allan Poe Award.
I used to go too early on.
In fact, the last person to just win Best Novel is a screenwriter. Noah Hawley. Hawley, and he wrote Before the Fall.
Oh, the wonderful about the plane.
Wonderful,
did you read it?
Yes,
did you read that?
I love that
plane,
book.
The plane going. Yes, I loved it too.
Yeah, and it's a cleverly written book. But again, that book is driven by characterization, as so many good mysteries are.
Well, I unfortunately I thought of The Gone Girl. Not that there's any comparison, except that there was that hype about.
I'm one of those people. I could never get through Girl on a Train.
I didn't know. Girl on a Train was different.
I would get to I kept trying. I thought,
you couldn't care for her.
Gone Girl was clever, but I figured it out before.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, maybe because I'm
smart.
I'm a crime writer.
Yes,
but
that's true.
So, but again, I find these books cold. These female characters are very cold to me. I have a hard time relating to them.
Well, the first time, both were first timers. The Gone Girl.
They did all right.
but Gone Girl, the gal worked for Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah. But still,
Girl on a Train, Paula
Hawkins.
Hawkins.
Yes. I found that character so pathetic that
that you didn't even want to stay with it to find out what the payoff was.
But in Gone Girl, you did.
Yeah. And I thought the movie killed it. I don't think the movie helped it at all.
And then there was a movie of Girl on the Train, which is even worse than.
That I didn't see.
You don't want to.
No.
No.
Oh.
We saw, it made my husband very angry at the end because it's woman against man kind of thing, I don't know. Because I didn't finish the book, I can't judge it by the movie because who knows what they do in the movies,
But just continue, because there it seems to me that the 70s and 80s. Well, here I wrote so many names down here. Did you give that back to me, so that I?
Yes, I did.
You did.
It's this one.
Oh, okay. And here was. Let's see if we can come. Donald Westlake. Donald Westlake. God.
Yes, he was.
Dorothy Miles Disney. Now that came out of nowhere. Did you ever read?
No, you got me on that one.
Did you ever read? I read her too. John Dixon Carr, you mentioned. Perry Mason?
Well, yes.
Donald Westlake.
I mean, that's famous.
Yes. But how about John Sanford? There was a John Sanford.
I love John Sanford.
There are two different John Sanfords.
Well, either one. Yes, there's one who wrote 39 Steps, and that's Sanford. But there's also one today who has Flowers. I can't think of his first name as his detective, and it's a wonderful. I highly recommend that series.
All right. Stuart Wood, who I notice has a new book coming out this week. But Stuart writes about sort of the same. It seems to me they're the same characters.
Well, they are the same. I mean, if you're putting the same book out year after year,
he does, like every year.
Many readers like that. It's comforting to them.
I must admit, Lee Child, I was really reading every Lee Child as it was coming out, and now they're like every once in a while there's Twofer in a year, and it's the same characters. It's again, Jack Reacher going somewhere.
I always wonder how these people pick this guy up on the road. His main character is like 280 pounds and 6'5", and who's going to stop and pick him up? I mean, whoa.
My one embarrassment is Jonathan Kellerman. There's nobody I know beside myself who I've read every Jonathan Kellerman.
Oh, have you really?
Yes.
Yeah. I've read his wife, and I've read him.
Faye Kellerman, I think, is much better than he. Yeah. And also the son is now Jesse Kellerman.
Yeah, I haven't read him.
Both of them. Yeah. The newest Kellerman has with the son.
Right.
It's okay, but it's a part of Los Angeles that I don't know about, and it's a kind of world. It does something to me, and I keep on reading those things. I would love to get them here. Thomas Harris.
Yes, now that's he did Silence of the Lambs, right?
Yes.
So one of the great books, but he's a very good writer. I mean, this is because of the horror in his books. He should not be dismissed if you can't stand that horror.
That's true.
He's a wonderful writer.
Yeah. We did Black Sunday. He did Black Sunday. He did a couple. Red Dragon. He did a couple.
Red Dragon.
Yeah. Thomas Perry.
Thomas Perry is a very good writer. Yeah. He's another Los Angeles writer. He's not as well known, but he's. Has many books out. Again, highly recommended.
I keep on reading him. I do. Marcia Clark. Well, she writes now. She has a protagonist who is I think it's a defense attorney instead of a prosecutor. Because of her. And she became famous through the O.J. Simpson trial. I haven't read her, so I can't really comment. Margit Millar.
Ross MacDonald's wife is a better writer.
Talk about psychological mystery.
But better writer than Ross MacDonald.
I will never admit that.
Well, I will. And she never got the attention that she deserved because that's true. He deserved it. I'm not saying he didn't, but she's a beautiful. She writes like a very shiny knife. She just cuts through her characters. She's sharp, very darkly witty, and captures. Has such great characterization, more than her husband, I think. Well, and she deserves to be rediscovered, I think.
Look. All right. Robert Ludlum. Whatever happened to the late Robert?
Well, many people write as him now. Gail Lynn's wrote for a while as him.
And I was in every one of those Gail Lynn's books.
The early Rod, when he was alive, were wonderful. They were good old solid sock 'em to you.
I have to tell you, we suddenly got the rights to certain Ludlums. I think it was mid-career. And I remember that he asked us to read his newest manuscript, a number of us at Bantam. And I read it, and I had like about 18 questions to ask. He ignored every one of them. He sloughed off every one of them. And essentially he was saying, it's the way I wrote it, it's the way you're going to print it, forget it.
Yeah, so he didn't want to be messed with.
No, he didn't.
And he didn't have to be.
And he made it very, very clear. But he was still a nice guy, I can't say.
Writers are very protective of their work. I know I am,
Well,
and of my voice especially.
Patricia Cornwell, I'm reading her right now. Oh, but let's talk about the European now, other than just in America. We now have, we've been having recently a spate of interesting mysteries. Ian Rankin in Scotland.
Oh, well, yeah, and he's been around for a long time. I mean, there's a wonderful Swedish writer called Camilla Läckenberg.
Don't even know.
Läckenberg.
Oh, thank you. I don't even know. I have to write that one down.
The Stonecutter. It's a couple years old.
The Stonecutter.
Yeah, but it's a wonderful book. She's a wonderful writer.
Yeah, and okay, and where is she? Is she what country?
Sweden.
Oh, Sweden.
Yeah.
Well, we used to do Perwalu.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yes, and Perwalu.
With the two
Yeah.
they wrote one of my favorite books, who of course I can't think of the name of right now. But they were good.
Yes, we published them. Yeah.
There's been a lot of Norwegian writers.
Stieg Larsson,
Well, he was
that whole theory.
The Hornet, the girl, and
there's still somebody's still carrying on his stuff.
Carrying on that, and but a lot of the Norwegian.
Joe Nesbo.
Yes, he's wonderful, by the way. His detective is Harry Hole, H-O-L-E.
Right. And he's good. He's a sour, aging character.
Yes, nasty, tough.
Yeah.
Not a cozy.
No.
Not a cozy.
No. There are cozies now. See, I don't know the cozy. Do you know any of those?
I'm not up on cozies.
But a lot of those cozy writers turned into writing lighthearted mysteries, didn't they?
Well, but they always were that.
They were always that?
Yeah, I mean, cozy, I think it was, I don't know who said it, a wonderful writer, I can't think of everybody's name right now, but he said, a cozy is where somebody gets killed but nobody gets hurt.
I have to think about that. It sounds nice,
but
I don't know.
But it's true.
Oh.
There can be a death, but it's not that serious.
Oh,
but if you think early Agatha Christie's were cozies.
Yeah.
They were. Many people thought of her as a cozy writer, though she was much more than that. Rosemary Harris came out of cozies, and she's now a major writer.
I told you that I like the Charles Todd mother and son.
Oh, well, now they're wonderful. I wouldn't call them cozies, though.
No, but it's still...
They're more historical.
But it's still England, 1917, 1918.
They have a wonderful male detective who is
still suffering,
a veteran from World War I.
Still suffering some of the anxiety.
He has the Scottish ghost follow him around, who was a friend of his, and he saw him killed.
Right.
And it's just wonderful because he sits in the back seat and grumbling his Scottish way.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I think
highly recommend them.
Good. I agree there too. Well, all right, we're coming to, but I still think that there's some we're missing.
There's some contemporary novelists, Fred. There's a new book out called Bluebird by Attica Locke. She's a black woman, and her character is a black Texas Ranger.
Oh.
And I highly recommend this book. A raw, bluesy, she has a wonderful blues. The blues has a lot to do with the crux of the plot. But
it isn't good because your husband has been in the music business. Okay.
No. But this is a wonderful book, very raw. She captures the East Texas beautifully, and you go into this world of a black family. And I wish there were more writers like this. She doesn't write with a political view in mind. She just throws you into this. I mean, there's some, little things here and there.
Yeah.
But mostly she just throws you into their lives. It's a brilliant book. I really love this book.
How do you learn about those books? Now, are you on a mailing list or something?
No, I read about them. I read reviews.
Well, you're in Ellery Queen, so if there are
all my short stories are published in Ellery
Yeah.
Queen. But no, it's just I read. I'm an avid reader. I probably read 3-4 books a month.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay. In addition to writing, because you're always writing, too.
Right, but when I'm writing, really into my writing, I'll read books like the Arianna Fallaci biography. I'll go more
so
there.
I say you're not.
But give me a good mystery. The trouble is with a lot of mysteries, I find myself like I have trouble reading Dan Brown. I can't read him.
I have him in here.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention him.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, you did. He was on the top.
Oh, I did? I'm sorry. Okay.
Boo.
Well, he's doing pretty well, I would say.
Oh, poor Dan Brown.
Yeah. The third book, I mean, he's writing essentially the same thing, isn't he?
It's always the same. When he said that his character looks like Harrison Ford in a tweed jacket, I said, okay, that's all for Dan Brown. If you can't do better than that, why should I give you my time?
All right, but so you just blithely, do you go into a bookstore and you look at the mysteries?
No, I get mystery magazines that I read.
Oh, there's a mystery magazine?
Yes, and Mystery Scene. It's wonderful, by the way. Wonderful magazine.
And it's a magazine.
Yeah, and you can get it in print, hard copy or online.
Yeah.
And I've gone over to the dark side, I have to say. I do read on my iPhone. And I read more because of that. But not that I don't go in and buy books. I do that too. I have to have the copy.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah. So reading is I don't think anybody who wants to be a writer cannot be a reader. You have to love reading. It would be like being a painter and you don't like to go to museums to see the great paintings.
That's true. Well, she because of the Santa Barbara Writers Conference, she does teach there every year.
I teach a course about developing your inner monitor, which is your editor. Your inside editor, and to not have a critical one that that stops you from writing, but a very observant, sharp one that doesn't let you go, askew and into cul-de-sacs, and you have to write your way back out. It's many people like the class. It's full all the time. So.
Good. It's this coming year. It's
yes.
June 17th to the 23rd or so. I know it's June 17th because I think I'm going to have to take the train to come up and be there.
In Shooting Hollywood, my collection of Diana Poole stories, before each short story, I tell why I wrote the short story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What was it that sparked me to write that short story? And it's quite wonderful. I was looking back at it. My God, I forgot this. But. It's what creatively sparks a writer.
Well, you remember Elizabeth George, somebody we didn't mention.
Good writer.
Another great writer who writes about England. And had never been there for a number of years.
She has now.
But when she came to the Writers' Conference, they taped her speech. Did I tell you this?
No.
She said in book number 1, rule number 1 is this, I broke it by doing that.
Yes.
Rule number 2 is this, I broke it by doing that. She described all 5 rules and then told how she destroyed them.
I just read the opening chapter to Raymond Chandler's Red Wind.
Yes.
What does it open with? The weather. They tell you, don't write about the weather, and you're, but he's, what incredible paragraph I read you. The weather is the character. It defines everything in that short story.
Speaking of that, now since you've brought it, there's been one series of pages that I remember in reading one of her books, and I can't get out of my mind. And you are going to have to hear it now.
Okay, here. Do we have the time?
Well, we got 3 minutes,
Okay, we're fine. As we raced north up the 101, I stared out my darkened window, watching rows of car dealerships turn into rows of condos, turn into rows of outlets, stores, turn into rows of planted fields. Everything I looked at was shaded in black, as if all of California were in mourning, as if we were all noir. Then the ocean appeared, as bleak as a nightmare. Surfers in wetsuits, sleek as seals, waited on their boards for the next murky wave. I'll just let that out because that's blah, blah, blah. We reached Santa Barbara. I watched the driver lift his cell phone to his ear, say a few words, and put it down. The limo curved off the freeway onto Cabrillo Boulevard. A street lined with hotels and palm trees on the side, and the ocean, volleyball courts, and palm trees on the other. I watched mothers and fathers pedaling with Herculean effort, rented surreys filled with their kids along the pristine sidewalks. Though the windows were too dark for me to define colors, I knew the parents' faces would be red from their endeavor. I envied these tourists, their sunburned skin, their tired legs, their cranky children. They might go back home and get divorced and selfishly rip out the hearts of their kids. But right now, they were pedaling with all their might for them.
Super, super. Anyhow, that's been my favorite. And we never mentioned Sue Grafton. I have to.
Well, you did mention her.
I did mention her before. Oh, and that's too late. I can't tell you my stories. I wanted to show the fact that cover art has changed on mysteries.
Yes.
The way they become.
I mean, look how subtle that, almost too
yes,
subtle.
and this is also today. It's all typeface.
Yep.
And there's nothing in between. You don't have any subtlety.
No.
I bought this was a real statue. I bought the statue.
Wasn't this on Sunset Boulevard?
It was on Sunset Boulevard.
Yes.
Absolutely. I bought
Hold it up.
and carted it across the country on a flatbed.
You bought that on?
Yes.
Oh,
and brought
God, I love it.
Brought it back to New York, hoping it would get on one of the cruise boats going around Manhattan. I sold it actually. I sold it to the movie company when Myra Breckenridge came out as a movie. But yes, I had them stop in every place and sign Myra. That Myra was here.
I remember driving down Sunset Boulevard, and there she was up there.
A real statue. Yeah. Anyhow, thank you for coming in. We're just right down to.
Oh, it was lovely talking with you.
Great talking to you. And it seems to me we haven't covered 1/16
not even
of the world of mystery.
A little tiny bit
of what sustains me and certainly impels you to go on.
I love it.
I think that's great, and she's still very continuous.
Passion.
Yeah, yes, but it's, and I think that for the most part, they're so satisfying if you can.
It is.
Well,
to be writing what you love, I love crime fiction. I love mysteries.
Then you are a wonderful example of it, and thank gosh for Diane Poole. May she continue.
Thank you.
May she continue many, many, many years. Many, many years. Anyhow, thank you very much for coming.
Hey, baby, don't you wanna go to the Cajun dance in the Zydeco? Filet gumbo